we're going to spend a little while with Victoria. Tell us about Victoria.
Yes, Victoria Atkin has just popped in to see us again. She was here a year or so ago. Victoria, of course, British actress, best known for playing Jason Costello, the character in Hollyoaks, the character with gender identity disorder. And it was, of course, a huge story at the time that Victoria was in that particular role. That was over 5 years ago, and she's now forging ahead with her career here in Hollywood, making a name for herself in sci-fi and gaming genres as well. She starred as Evie Fry in the game Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I'm ashamed to admit I've never played, Victoria, but I know a lot of people have. And you're also just about to star in a new sci-fi show called Extinct, and I've seen the trailer to that, and it actually looks like a really good show. It's great to see you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. Yes, Extinct is about to start in October 1st. It's a brand new scripted sci-fi original series. So I star as Fina, who is one of the first reborn humans after the human race has been extinct for 400 years.
And you made it in Utah?
I did, yeah, we did. We spent good 6 months in Utah filming this across all these wonderful different locations there. So it was extraordinary to be out in the environment and the wilderness and the desert filming this.
And so when I mentioned the fires that are burning there right now, you can just imagine what it's like.
Yes. We were in the desert, a lot of it, so there's not as much stuff to burn. But particularly in the summer, it does get extremely, extremely hot. And there's some beautiful wildlife and terrain there that's sad that it's burning.
We'll talk more about this show in a second. I started by, of course, mentioning Hollyoaks.
Yes.
Does that all seem like a distant, dim and distant memory to you now?
It really does. I mean, it was the first job out of drama school. I trained at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama in Swiss Cottage, and it was a baptism of fire. I'd been theatre trained and never stepped in front of a television camera, and all of a sudden I'm doing this huge character that was pretty groundbreaking at the time, and on national television 5 days a week. So I ended up completing 134 episodes. But yeah, it was really a whirlwind first job, but a great experience, and what a first character to play.
And because it was, as you say, it was more than just a television role. There was the social implications. It became a news story.
It did, yeah. We were able to, with Channel 4, sign a memorandum of understanding so that trans people would be accurately portrayed in the media from that movement forward. So that was great, and just to, I think, have that character on British television really brought the ideas and the gender identity to the forefront, which hadn't been seen as much before then.
Well, as I mentioned, your career has really evolved. You're doing a lot of sci-fi. You're working in games, very successfully in games. And I do want to talk more about Extinct as well. I'll just give Rod an opportunity, though, to say hello to you.
I just wanted to say hello, Victoria. Yes, nice to
Hi,
have you
Rod.
here.
How are you doing? It's nice to speak to you again.
Yes. Well, I've got lots of questions too, but I actually don't want to interrupt Peter's flow, so I'm going to come back in a minute or two.
Okay. Let's go. Yeah, absolutely. That's great news. Let's talk about sci-fi, because I remember when we spoke last time, and especially games.
Yes.
It wasn't really a world that you had explored before, but you suddenly find yourself in Hollywood, this entirely new opportunity for you as an actress.
Yes. I've done some television and film here, but motion capture seems to have been a skill that I've acquired and really just absolutely enjoyed doing it. It's a lot of people know motion capture from Andy Serkis's Gollum in Lord of the Rings, and it's very much like that for video games. I've been doing with Assassin's Creed, I did all the facial capture, all the motion capture, and the voice for this animated character that you play in this incredible franchise with Ubisoft. So yes, that was a wonderful experience for 6 months in Toronto. And I mean, you come to Hollywood,
come in here. How do you know where to go with motion capture, Victoria? I mean, because I just imagine it's you and a leotard and about 500 electrodes and a green screen. I mean, how do you know?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Yes, how do you know? I think, I prepare my scripts for any medium in the same way, whether it's motion capture, television or film. And this script is just a lot longer. It's about 1,000 pages, because if you think in a game, you've got all these different scenarios that you can go to. But there aren't any marks on the floor like in television and film where you have to hit the mark to make sure that it's in line with the camera. You actually have 180 cameras, 360 degrees around. And so they pick up on the dots that are on your leotard, as you say. It's more like a cat suit. And you also have those dots on your face. And then you have a helmet with a camera right in front of your face that records your facial expressions. So all of this is writing at the same time, but it's really quite liberating. You can play in this environment as a big kid, you know. There's no props or costume or anything to restrict you, which I know some actors find difficult to not have those perimeters. But for me, I found it extremely liberating.
I wonder if some actors almost feel like it's not acting when they're doing that. But at the same time, are you developing new skills as a performer?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're not on your own in there. You do have your ensemble, so you're working with the same characters. And I would say it's probably more difficult because you don't have anything to rely on. You know, you really have to use your craft as an actor to bring these things to life. And if you you can't, these facial expressions and the technology now with these HD cameras, I mean, you can pick up if people haven't had acting training through the animation.
And you have become successful. You've become known for playing these characters. I know you go to a lot of conventions.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's wonderful. I mean, with video games, it's different because like a movie or a television show, you get to see the end product. With a video game, people are spending one-on-one time with you for hours on end. And you don't really see that until you meet the fans at Comic-Con and they express, the time that they've spent with you and how much they enjoyed the game. So I do like going to those and hearing that.
And you're going to Comic-Con, of course, in a few weeks' time. And you were at E3 just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep, E3, lots of gaming things. So now I've done Assassin's Creed. I did some work on Titanfall 2. And I have a new game, Horizon Zero Dawn, has just launched at E3 that they have an add-on pack, which I'm part of.
That's a Sony PlayStation game?
Yes, Sony PlayStation. And it's sold over 4.3 million copies since February. So wow. I'm excited to be part of this game. And the game is a female lead too.
Which in itself is quite an achievement. There are not many games of female leads.
No. I mean, female gamers now are really coming to the forefront, and we're seeing that. But I think predominantly it has been a very male-orientated field, so it's shifting.
Let's talk about Extinct then, because I've seen the trailer. This is, you can tell us the detail, but essentially it takes place 400 years after the human race has been exterminated by aliens, which I've got to say sounds a familiar sort of theme. What's different about it?
Yes, the human race has been extinct for 400 years. They were wiped out by a species called the Karek, and we were fighting for years and years on end. And so what they've done is they've stored human brain states and human DNA, and they're bringing humans back, which have been selected for their particular skills in their past experience. So my character is called Serafina, and she was a hacker. So she has all these technical skills, and she's able to help fix the drones and communicate with these drones and the alien species that talk to us and guide us throughout the series.
And maybe it isn't so far-fetched, because there are a few characters, I think, in Silicon Valley who are hoping to be in that position themselves when they pass on to perhaps have their brains frozen and come back at a future time.
It's an interesting thing, it's almost like we can live forever by storing these things. And it's interesting when the character comes back and actually preparing for this role, wondering what it would be like to come back without any of your friends or family and this whole desolate earth that's not how you left it.
And as an actress, how do you... I mean, this is an entirely new world, of course.
Yes.
How much improvisation are you allowed?
Well, I mean, the script is written by Orson Scott Card and Aaron Johnson, who wrote Ender's Game. And to be honest, there doesn't need much improvisation. What those guys have created and the world that has been established is enough for me as an actress to have this playground to bring the lines to life.
And who are you making this show for, and how can people see it?
Yeah, everybody in the world can see it. It's a really cool platform called BYU TV, and it's a free app that you can download. It's their second scripted series. So you can go to the App Store or on any Android phone or Android platform, iPads, and also Apple TVs and Roku TVs. You can just download the app for free, and it will be on October 1st. And there's 10 episodes, which are an hour long.
Which is really interesting to me. Obviously, this isn't mainstream television. This isn't even a subscription service like Netflix. This is an entirely free app.
Yes, it is, yes.
So
And I may just jump in and say this may be the way of the future, because Facebook have just announced a huge investment in television. And this is how Facebook are going to be delivering television, if I'm not wrong.
Oh,
they're
wow.
going to be offering you it through your Facebook feed. So you're just going to go on your Facebook app and you're going to be able to see shows like Extinct.
Wow, I didn't know that was happening. That's incredible. Yes, I think,
amazing
with the
thought.
technology, everything's moving. But I like that you'll be able to stream this live, and you'll be able to watch it on the Apple TVs and the Roku TVs, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And their last series went to Netflix. I'm not sure whether this will go there, but perhaps later on it will go to a different distribution too.
Can I ask you, Victoria? Sorry, Peter.
I was just going to say very quick, I think you mentioned the Facebook thing, Rod. I think obviously they've tested the water, haven't they, with Facebook Live, and in terms of being a video platform. And I suppose drama is just the next obvious step.
I wonder. I'm not sure. I don't know how a scripted series would work on it, but perhaps, I don't know. YouTube seemed to be doing it, Hulu and all these different platforms that are now just blowing up, and Amazon.
You might be involved in this because you're so fabulously flexible, and you might be involved in a series which has about 10 different endings, which are then chosen by the viewer. I'm only suggesting that something that's actually in interactive children's TV might be coming to this kind of thing. It could be very entertaining. But I want to know about your life because, since we talked last, are you now part of a very small and fabulous British acting coterie in Los Angeles? I mean, are you rubbing shoulders with people like James Corden all the time?
I've never met James Corden. He is doing extremely well, though.
Isn't he?
No, I haven't got my James Corden billboards up quite yet. But give me a few more years, perhaps.
But you do live in that little British enclave called Santa Monica.
I do.
A lot of people go there initially. It does seem to be the dream location in this great sprawling city of LA.
Yeah, I have walking distance to the British shop, so I'm able to collect my Terry's chocolate orange when I need my fix.
And you go to the King's Head?
Now and again, the roast dinners, they're great, but they're not quite my mum's.
Now, did I read something about your book?
Yes.
And the King's Head?
Yeah, my book.
Tell us about that.
I wrote a novel, a romance thriller novel called London Love, which is on Amazon. But I was talking to the owners of Ye Old King's Head shop in Santa Monica, and they said they would love to have it to sell there. So it's now on sale in that shop too.
And what do you miss about the UK, if anything?
Well, of course, my family, most of them are still over there, but I love the greenery and, the traditional things and the culture and the people. It's not quite... every time I hear a British voice here, I still ask them where they're from and latch on.
That question, how long have you been here?
I've been here since 2013 now.
Yeah. But that's what people always
asking
ask
them,
you.
yeah. And also, where are you from? Even if they're from the other end of the country, you still feel like your neighbours.
And does Hollywood, and clearly as a successful actress on British television, is Hollywood still living up to your expectations? Because there was a lot, in a sense, it might have been like starting again.
It really was starting again. It really was. There's no other way of doing it. And actors that I talk to that are thinking about coming over, I always say you have to be prepared to, really start over. It's contacts and it's building your team and really just acclimating, that's the word.
Something like that.
To being in Hollywood, just the basics of finding a way around and driving on the other side of the road. It's all these things that you have to adapt to. And, it's definitely lived up to it. It's just been a journey. It's a completely different journey. And I never thought I would be working motion capture. I never, but it's been great. And I love it. I love waking up with the sunshine and being by the beach.
And do you go to a lot of auditions? Is it that kind of lifestyle?
I mean, talking about technology that we've been talking about with Facebook and those things, a lot of auditions that I've done now are self-tapes. My self-tape for Assassin's Creed was, the first audition I did from home.
So it's a selfie audition?
Yeah, basically a selfie audition, yeah.
Imagine doing an audition for motion capture. You'll set up your own green screen and 180 cameras in your room.
I haven't quite got that in my garage yet, but
180 mobile phones around you.
But yeah, just, I don't know if any of you've seen they have a lot, sometimes the big movie stars on YouTube with their self-tape auditions, but Yeah, it's just, you get playing background and you record these auditions and they get sent to the casting directors. And a lot of the first round auditions are working out like that now. Extinct, it was the same thing. My first one, and then the callback, I met the producers.
Gosh, that sounds like a top tip for anybody that wants to get into Hollywood. Just look at a few people's self-taped auditions and see if you can do one.
Yeah.
Just like that.
There's a good one for The Notebook. Rachel McAdams one's on there.
Really? Okay. Well, with that piece of very useful advice, I think we're going to take a little time out. But Victoria, it's been very nice to have you back with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good to speak to you.
Good to see you, Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you.